You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
Back-to-back Elite Eights for the Arkansas Razorbacks. This team and everything they've done this season, last season, elite describes it, man. Eric Musselman put on an absolute show of a coaching job against this Gonzaga Bulldogs team. The players on this team fought so hard and deserved this win. Arkansas won 74-68 over the 1 seed in the West Region, Gonzaga Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were also the 1 seed within the entire NCAA tournament, and they were the AP Top 25 number 1 team. Arkansas is the first team to defeat an AP number 1 team in the regular season in Auburn, and then within the postseason they defeated the AP number 1 team in the NCAA tournament. Arkansas, though, had huge games defensively. They were really able to frustrate Andrew Nembhard for Gonzaga. 40 minutes, 2 out of 11 from the floor, 1 out of 3 from 3, 2 out of 2 from the floor, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for Nembhard. And you may say, who's guarding Nembhard? You can probably guess. Au'Diese Toney was guarding Nembhard for the most of the game. Toney has gotten to the point that you can really almost eliminate a top guy on the other team that Toney is going to guard because of how good he's been able to play. Toney has a lot of length and size to his advantage. I mean, this level of defense we're seeing from him right now, I think you can make a good case as the best out of anyone in the tournament. Toney's left-hand face guarding action has been great for Arkansas all season, and he was really able to frustrate Gonzaga's point guard. And like I said, Nembhard was the engine of this Gonzaga offense, and to stop him was huge. Drew Timme had 25 points for the Zags. He went to the free throw line 7 out of 8 times. I'll talk about the refs later because I know that's been a hot topic and such. But anyway, Timme 9 out of 19 from the floor. Williams was on him for a lot of the game. Timme had 5 turnovers, though, in this one. Really, Williams played against Timme for most of this one. If you saw, Williams didn't really, sometimes on offensive sets, didn't get involved because he was resting. I mean, the way that he was going at Timme was, it was really impressive, and he didn't really give Timme all that he wanted. But Timme still had a nice game. I mean, this is one of the guys who has been running for a National College Player of the Year all season, third-year player out of Texas. Timme had 7 rebounds in this one. Arkansas was out-rebounded by 3. Gonzaga, 45 boards. Arkansas with 42. And I'm talking about this Gonzaga team and, the shooting that they didn't perform that well because of how good this Arkansas defense is. I mean, I really want to highlight that the strength of this team is their defense. Chet Holmgren, he only played 23 minutes because Arkansas got him into foul trouble and got him to foul out. And I said on my podcast, the way that Arkansas has to deal with Chet is really just force fouls on him and get him to the bench because of how well that Chet impacts the game defensively for, holding up against the rack and near the rim on teams driving for layups and stuff. Chet had 11 points, 5 out of 9 from the floor, and then he had 14 rebounds, 2 blocks. Really, his fouls, Arkansas was attacking at the basket, got a couple there, and then he took tried to take a charge, but it didn't work out too well for him there. And then the other one was a reaching foul where he kind of had his hand on Williams. Rasir Bolton for Gonzaga, he was 3 out of 10 out of the floor. He was 2 out of 7 from 3. He shot 40+% from 3 this season, so good numbers there. And then another volume shooter for Gonzaga, Julian Strother, was 1 out of 5 from 3. He only had 12 points. And then off the bench, Gonzaga only had 5 bench points out of Watson, Hickman, and Salas, all combined. Now, offensively for Arkansas, lots of guys here who contributed. I want to start off with Trey Wade because I think offensively he could have been, one of the MVPs from this game. 6 out of 10 from the floor, 3 out of 4 from 3. I mean, when's the last time we saw Trey Wade hitting 3 threes in a game? He had 7 rebounds as well, 15 points. Wade played absolutely fantastic for Arkansas on both ends of the floor. Really hard to put into words how much of an impact he has on this team. especially when he gets going like he did. And it was really huge for Wade to step up when Amude got into foul trouble. Williams, again, 15 points additionally, 12 rebounds. Williams, 5 out of 12 from the floor, 2 for 5 from 3. I mean, teams give him a lot of distance from 3, and he gets confidence in his shot sometimes, and he gets those buckets falling, and it's important for Arkansas there. 12 rebounds. That's 3 straight double-doubles in the NCAA tournament. I mean, we're always talking about all these other bigs dominating the NCAA tournament, but we really, I think, are sleeping on how good Jalen Williams has been offensively, defensively. He's getting it done. Arkansas shot 72 times in this game. And in this game, J.D. Notae shot 29 times. That's good for 40% of the Razorbacks' shot opportunities. J.D. had 21 points, 6 rebounds. He went to the free throw line once, 2 out of 12 from 3. It was an off night for him, and yeah, I know 21 points, but, shooting 29 shots is, a lot of guys aren't going to, do that every night. But it was an off night for him, and, we've kind of seen his percentages not been that high since the Kentucky game necessarily. I mean, in the Kentucky game, I think he shot 26 times, and that was his previous high on the season. JD, though, against Gonzaga, 9 out of 29 from the floor, 2 out of 12 from 3. He really wasn't going to line that much. I mean, JD this season as a whole on the free throw line, he's getting there, averaging 4.4 attempts per game. He only got 2 in this one. He was 1 out of 2 from that free throw line. He was driving to the rim a lot. Just shots weren't falling in. But again, with JD, those heat checks and threes and everything, that's just part of JD's game. And when he's on, I mean, Arkansas can win the national championship. And Arkansas winning this game with JD shooting 31%. I hate to be this guy, but, what if JD was not, 31% from the floor and he shot 29 times and he made, let's say, 14 of those right there? That's automatic 10 more points, and it could have been more even from 3. JD, though, getting out of his cold streak will be important, as he hasn't shot above 32% from the floor since the Kentucky game. But huge night for him offensively in terms of the points, getting 21. Amude really didn't see that much. A lot of mid-range and floater stuff he was good at. 6 points in 20 minutes. Got into some foul trouble. Tony offensively, again, I don't think he's going to contribute at the level that he has in the rest of the season, just because of the amount of energy that he has put in on defense to stop guys like Andrew Nemhard. But he did have 6 points. Devo Davis with 6 points. And let's talk about Chris Likes, man. Chris was on the bench for the majority of the game. I think he subbed in a little bit in the first half, and he's been Arkansas's best free throw shooter this season. He's shooting 87.3% from that charity stripe. And one of the hardest things I think to do is, you're sitting on the bench for a lot of the game, and then you get up, get into the game, you get fouled pretty quick, and you go to the line, make 2 shots, and you haven't been shooting probably since halftime, at that point. And making those 2 shots and putting Arkansas in a position to seal the game was really huge for him. Overall, though, this was a really good team win. Arkansas, as a team, forcing 15 turnovers. Limiting Gonzaga's shooting was very important. Zags, 37.5% from the floor. Arkansas holding them there. And then 23.8% from the floor for the Zags off the three-pointer. Really, though, this defense for Arkansas has been extremely well this season, and I'm tired of the talk, Gonzaga didn't hit their open shots. Arkansas defended extremely well. We need to give credit where it's due to this Arkansas team and the style of defense that they played, especially in this game and the last few NCAA tournament games. This Arkansas team fights you on when you're on offense and really grinds out the team and puts themselves in a great position to win basketball games, and it needs to be talked about more. And we talk about the refs here, and it's really hard to judge refs, just period, off stats. But if you watch that game, yeah, I think maybe one call, I think the third on Chet, was one I disagreed with when Jalen picked up a foul on him. But the refs on that game weren't good, period. And it's not like they were like, oh, let's get it in for Arkansas here. I would love to see Chet Holmgreen on the bench. No, that's not how it was. They just called the game as they wanted to as refs. Arkansas called for 20 fouls. Gonzaga called for 17, but then again towards the end of the game, we saw a lot of intentional fouls. So that number before the intentional fouls, Gonzaga spent like the last 10 minutes of the second half in the bonus, and they were trailing for that one. Arkansas overall only went to the free throw line 14 times, and Arkansas has been, I think, number 1 or number 2 in the nation in getting to the line at times, especially within the last month. Gonzaga going to the line 20 times, missing 5 free throws. Arkansas missing 5 as well. Really, you can't blame the refs in this one. You have no one to blame except for yourself and the team for what transpired on the court. But Arkansas moves on to the Elite Eight to face the Duke Blue Devils. With a trip to the Final Four in New Orleans on the line, number 4 in the West region, Arkansas Razorbacks take on the number 2 seed within the West. And the Elite Eight on TBS, March 26th, Saturday at 7:49 Central. Now, for Duke, led by one of the best players in the nation, Paolo Banchero, Arkansas has faced Jabari Smith Jr., Chet Holmgren, and now Paolo Banchero. Those guys are likely going to go 1, 2, 3 in some order that I have no clue. Nobody does, but they're probably going to go 1, 2, 3 in the NBA draft. Paolo Banchero has been absolutely incredible for the Blue Devils. The way that he sees the floor, I think, could be argued as one of the best players in college basketball, despite him being more of a power forward. I mean, he almost plays like a point forward type role with the way that he sees the floor and makes good passes. Now, at point guard for the Blue Devils is Jeremy Roach. Roach this season has had his ups and downs, but last game against Texas Tech, he had a fantastic game. The 6'1" point guard put up 15 points in this one, had 5 assists, 4 rebounds. He was 7 out of 11 from the floor. Again, Arkansas has to limit all of these guys that I'm talking about right here to win this game. And there's a lot of pure talent on this Duke team. I mean, Trevor Keels is coming off the bench. That's how good Duke is. And I think their win against Texas Tech is honestly the best win of their season, even despite them beating Gonzaga and Kentucky earlier this season. Duke shot 70% from the floor in the second half, and from like the 7-minute mark to close, they did not miss a field goal attempt. They closed that game incredibly well and got hot right at the right time. So like I said, Jeremy Roach, their point guard, he'll play a lot of minutes here for the Duke Blue Devils. This season, like I said, had his ups and downs here, but he's been hot offensively and really helped them beat this Texas Tech team. Now, Paolo Banchero, like I said, he's one of the best offensive players in the nation, and rebounding as well. Offensively, he's going to create a lot of open shots for Duke, just based off of the size and the space that he gets. 6'10", 250, really a lot of muscle in that build. I do think you'll see, though, Jalen Williams take on Marco Williams, the center for Duke. He had 16 points in their game against Texas Tech, but he's been making a name for himself in the NCAA tournament. 15 against Cal State Fullerton, 15 again against Michigan State, and then 16 points against Texas Tech. In those games, he shot 86% from the floor, 78% from the floor, and then 67% from the floor when rounding up. He's been fantastic for the Blue Devils. And then additionally, outside of those three in the starting lineup, you'll round it off with A.J. Griffin, a freshman 6'6" wing player for the Blue Devils, and then Wendell Moore Jr., a junior on this team. He's averaging 13.5 points per game with 4.5 assists per game as the assist per game leader for Duke. Duke as a team has 5 players in double-digit points per games. Those starters being Banchero, Moore Jr., Williams, and Griffin. Roach at 8.6 points per game. And then Trevor Keels off the bench has averaged 11.3 points per game. From three-point land for the Blue Devils, you really got to watch out for A.J. Griffin. He's shooting 45% from 3 this season. Wendell Moore Jr. shooting 41% from 3. And then Jeremy Roach at 34%. Off the floor, mainly, Mark Williams is going to be a problem. That's why I think defensively, the way Arkansas sets this up early on, and obviously it's going to be a game of adjustments and so forth, I think Arkansas's best option here on